Hello everyone and welcome to my PRL League test race in the wet weather in Hockenheim. This is Precision Racing League. This is the first successful American league that I've actually found on a forum, and I'm delighted to say that I finally find a league that's within my time zone and that's convenient to race. You join me in my hot lap. This was my quickest lap set on the wet tire. Obviously the purpose of this race was actually to test wet weather, and I would like to inform everyone that all assists were enabled for the drivers because there are different level of skill drivers in this grid, and the purpose was just to get a feel for the wets so that all the drivers can get an understanding. So like I said, this is a brand new league to me, and I was just happy to find a league and I decided to race. So yeah, as the pace set by Nick the Quick with a 28 flat on a wet tire, I mean that's fairly beatable, but on this session in particular I didn't beat it. I managed to do a 130.1 as you will see here towards the end of the lap, and that was good enough for P5. So I was actually pretty happy on that because I've actually never driven here on the wets. So in my opinion it was pretty successful, just hopping on 2 minutes before a race and just putting down a 130.1. I'm sure I can go quicker, but that wasn't the point here. This was just a test race, test my pace against this new league, and looking forward to it. We set down 130.170, good enough for P5, and we've got Cool Cat in here, which is another AOR guy. You guys might not might recognize him, and some of you might not. I consider him one of the quicker guys on the pad over the years in AOR. And that's the grid for the PRL first test race. So yeah, Nick the Quick with pole position, Philippe Petit on third with a 129.3. So 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, and we're off at the Hockenheim Grand Prix for this test race over the Precision Racing League is what PRL stands for, if no one was aware. And I get pushed wide here by QGR, Pat Lezer, I think that's how you pronounce that. Tron passes me as I lose time to that incident. That's alright, let's focus. A lot of guys struggling for grip. Dark Laugh Out Loud runs right wide. I have to dodge him, make him aggressive maneuver to avoid him. We did have damage on in this race, but it was not set to simulation. It was set to strictly full damage. So it was more forgiving, needless to say. So we're down in 7th after that incident, and we're just trying to make it through the grid here. You gotta remember, man, as we have a bell mag goes off the track, he spins. But you gotta remember here, running wet weather in this game is so much more difficult that any little input or just careless act from you as the driver, it just means a race over. As you've seen in previous 2 corners, guys are spinning out, guys running out. So I was just focuses on not making any of those errors myself whilst making my way up the grid. And I've got to say, this race was pretty fun, and I actually enjoyed myself. And I'm looking for more leagues. I like AOR, but definitely I need a league that's within my time zone, because some of the guys in AOR, when they're racing, I'm still at work. You know what I mean? So the only day I can really race with AOR is Sunday, and I need to get as much practice as I can. As Nick the Quick sets a 139.8 to set the pace, skipping forward to lap 2, sets a 130.7 to set the pace. What we're doing here, we're doing 130.7, so right now we're 2 seconds off the pace. But I'm not focused on that. I'm just focused on not making errors and putting the pressure on the guys. As the guy goes wide here, it's Pat Lezer. I don't know what happened to him, but he's managed to actually not run into me, so I appreciate that, Pat. So let's chase the Pat here, chasing Tron, and I believe it's V6 Haas ahead, which is another American fella here. Me and him had a decent race. I'm making a sick overtake on him at the Mercedes stadium section. But yeah, let's skip forward to lap 7. Catching up on Tron here, who managed to close the gap as we run right here. That will cost us time, but we recover. Managed to close the gap here. We're looking forward to we're just having a look at Tron here, seeing what he does, making sure that, you know, we don't make the same mistake he does, because quite frankly, when you're following someone ahead, you can lose focus yourself on what you're doing. So trying to put on the pressure without, you know, making too much errors. So just having a look at Tron, seeing what he's doing. He takes a normal racing line. We tapped him slightly. Have to apologize about that. Just like I said, a small input can mean a large error. So just pressed on the gas bit, on the brake, excuse me. Just pressed on the brake a bit too hard, and that caused a lockup, and it cost me to hit Tron. So apologize for that. But we're still having a look. He runs wide, capitalize on that mistake, and that's the move done. We're in P4, and now we're chasing V6 house. Skipping over to lap 11 here, and we managed to pull not much of a gap from Tron, as you can see, as he's having a look on us here, but we did manage to close the gap on V6. He was struggling to find traction. I think he was one of the few guys running with no assist, because like I said, the assists were enabled, and the guys that wanted to run it can run it, and the guys that didn't want to run it could run it. Just seeing what we're doing here as far as performance wise. Oof, here's the move here. I managed to actually skip that move. I wanted to commentate on that, but yeah, it's just a beautiful move by me. Beautiful move. He just brakes early. We managed to just brake a slight bit earlier and use distraction. I like when the car is loose. A lot of guys don't like the wet weather, but I like it. When the car is loose like that, I just take advantage. You know, if you can control the slides and maintain the throttle pressure, I think wet weather is just fine. You know, of course the tires will fall off. You have to pit. You know, it's not like dry weather where you can run several laps on a worn tire, but on wet weather, it's really crucial when the tires are starting to wear out, just to get off that compound and put on another set. Because that right there will just enable you to be accident prone, perhaps. So yeah, I really like wet weather. I don't think it's a problem at all, especially with the handling model. It actually makes it a lot easier to control the car around corners. You know, I feel in previous games it was a lot stiffer. So when it was actually wet, you just had a bunch of grip and downforce, just a bit unrealistic. So really happy with the wet weather right now, as we're on the pace with a 150 to 1/10 up on the pace in sector 1 here. But that don't mean nothing. But yeah, just as you can see, as soon as I pass them, we're managing to get on pace here, and it just shows you how much pace we have here in the wets and how much the other guys are struggling. So just trying to keep the traction down in the rich mixture, trying to put a lap down. 132.5 is definitely not the pace that we're capable around here, so we're just trying to put a lap in here. Oh, the rear end, excuse me, getting loose on us here. Like I said, traction is very minimal, so you gotta maintain that throttle position. Up on our lap by 3/10, almost 4/10 up on that lap. As V6 Haas has a time penalty. I believe that's from the corner cutting, as we did have the corner cut and rules on straight. You know, we weren't trying to have everything off, enabled to assist drivers, so that was one of the few assists that we actually had on. To answer a question right quick, this is not a full assist league. This was just a test race, just to see what the guys think of the wet weather. So it is not a full assist league, as we set a 131.7 so far on the pace. We'll skip forward to the pit lap. I managed to pit lap 17. That's 50%. That's halfway of a 50% around 34 laps around this track. So I figured I'd hop in lap 17, put on another set of wet compound, and I figured they can get me to the end. Actually, that was the strategy by my engineer. So as he says, we're gonna just stay on these compounds, take it to the end, and just see what we can do. We got Cool Cat up front ahead of. He managed to overtake us in the pits, but I'm sure he's got to pit one more time, so I'm not too worried about him. Just managing the throttle, managing the traction. Last thing to do right now is to come out pits and make an error. So your outlap needs to be a good outlap, so for sure. Really focus on not making mistakes. Clipping the apex beautifully here. And as Philip Latit disconnects, skipping over to lap 18, he managed to cap. Right after he disconnects, he becomes a AI car, and this, I cannot stress enough how many times I ran against AR cars in this race here. I just feel like Codemasters need to really hear us out, and there, as I overtake him here, but you have to be cautious, as he almost ran into me. Thankfully he didn't. Skipping another lap 22, we're 22 thousandths of a second up on our time. And like I was saying, you want to pass the AI, but at any point they can just run into you. As you see another AR car up ahead. This was another disconnected driver. So as far as I'm concerned, as long as the driver disconnects, or even if he retires, I believe he becomes an AR car. But I'm not completely sure on that, so don't quote me on it. But I believe if they disconnect, they become an AI car, and I just feel like they need to patch that. If a driver disconnects, get rid of the car, because as you can see, it's costing me time. I literally run into him. I have nowhere to go, and thankfully we're now in simulation damage, because that would have cost me a front wing in simulation damage. I managed to pass him here at the right-hander, and for every time as Nick puts a 130.3 setting the pace. But as I'm saying, for every time that you run into an AR car, it just costs you time, and it's just annoying. I just really hope that they hear us out, Codemasters wise, that the guys hear us out and just patch this, because it's really annoying. I think I've seen a total of 5 ARs, or maybe I'm wrong, maybe it was 6, but that's far too much, you know what I mean? But yeah, if I could have chased Nick here in this race, I would say the AI definitely caused that not to happen, because on several occasions I had to just dodge him, and at one point it actually caused me to spin. So he had great pace, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, he was putting fastest lap after fastest lap, but then again, I don't know what assist he was running. As I said, assists were enabled, so he could have had traction on, you know. And if you have traction on here, obviously you're gonna get on the power a lot earlier, which is gonna bring you lap time. But I was just confident and happy that I know I can run the wet race, you know what I mean, and that I'm comfortable in the wet weather, so it's awesome to see. But we let this lap right here play out, because it was actually one of my faster laps, and this one was, I believe, a 130 flat. As you can see, we're 21 thousandths of a second ahead on our lap. Car wants to slide everywhere. I love that, you know. It's like, no, you will not spin. I'm controlling you, not you controlling me. The wet weather race is all about mentality, man. It's all mental. Some people that tell you they hate it is fucking weak. Excuse my language. Get a decent exit out of that corner, and we do a 131 flat. That was our fastest lap of the race. Skipping over to lap 24, we're coming up on yet another AI car. That's Philippe Letit's car, and for fuck's sake, how long ago did this guy disconnect? And we're in lap 24, and he's still in the race. So definitely something needs to be done here as we skip forward to lap 25, and we've got another disconnected driver, and we're just trying to avoid him here. And like I said, it was just a race against AI after I passed V6 Haas pretty much, and there's nowhere to go. He parks the car in the apex, and that was my first incident. I managed to get a warning there, for fuck's sake. I'm just frustrated at that point. Cost me 5 seconds there, and then again we skip forward to lap 28 at the Mercedes Stadium section, and we run into yet again another AR. This guy parks at the apex, nowhere to go. I've got to slow down. He manages not to hit me, but I think you can dodge the AI, but sometimes it's inevitable, you know. Inevitable. Excuse me. As we get another AR car. Hold on, that's not an AI. It's a guy. Blue flag, mate. Come on, get out the way. As soon as you made that mistake and ran wide and saw me coming and saw blue flag, he should have just pulled over. So exaggerating a bit here, but I just wanted to put this in just so the PRL League admins can see this. You know, when blue flags, stress it out to your drivers. They should move out the way. He finally gets out the way. I appreciate it, as we're 2/10 up on our time. Skipping over to another AI car, Philippe Petit. I'm not even gonna stress this out. Lap 31, just unacceptable. Should have been gone. As Bernard just parks the car, another AR car causes me to spin. And like I said, if league racing ends up being like this, a lot of guys are going to be upset. So Codemasters, please do something about this AI glitch thing. You know, I'm sure it's not a glitch, but whoever that AI is, in that Force India. The real life AI does not drive this slow. I mean, look at that. Come on, man. Whoever is that AI in real life, I bet you Sergio Perez would not drive this slow at an apex. Yes, he's got blue flags, but why does he keep going? It's a blue flag. Let me through. So, just really frustrating. Something so simple, and it just gets ignored. And I don't know if it's really getting ignored. Maybe they are working on it, but as far as I'm concerned right now, I don't know that. So we definitely need this to be addressed for the league. That literally cost me 5 seconds. I had 6 seconds on Cool Cat, and with that incident, it cost me 5 seconds. As you can see, he's right on my gearbox, just putting some pressure on him. So we're defending our position here a bit, making sure we don't leave a door open, but at the same time keeping it clean. Barbino, please, man, it's red, blue flag. Come on, mate. When you get blue flag, I know I've been guilty of this, but I should choose whatever line I want. I shouldn't have to go to the outside just to pass him. We should have just moved her over and pulled over, and you know, that takes me off my racing line, and I go deep. I missed the apex completely. Thankfully, Cold Cat was having struggles of his own, and he didn't pass me there. So this is the final lap of the race. Appreciate you guys coming on and watching this. It seemed like I ran about AI problems most of the video, but I just really wanted to show you guys that this is not something people are complaining about. This is real, man. We're having this difficulty with AI as Nick the Quick wins the race, and even if I did have a chance to challenge him, I don't think it was possible today with the AIs being in the way as such as they were. But yeah, just trying to keep it together. As Cool Cat's looking to have us make a mistake, putting a bit of pressure on, I won't lie. And he's actually one of the other guys that's going to join me for this league. So I'm really looking forward to the Precision Racing League and really excited for it. And that was the test race at Hockenheim. We come in second place, take a podium. Here's the grid, and thank you for watching. Bye bye now.